Hello everyone, welcome to the Entry app. Today we are going to do the 26th June current affairs. These have been compiled by me, Bhavna, from different important news sources such as the Indian Express, the Hindu, PIB, and all the other important news sources. These current affairs have been specifically designed keeping in mind the important competitive examinations. This is an overview of today's session. We'll be starting with the national news and COVID-19 related news. Then we'll be going on to the states related news. This would be followed by the important economy, banking, and business sector news. And in the last, we would be focusing on important days and events. Let's start with the national news of the day. The first important news of the day is Kushinagar Airport has been declared as an international airport. The Union Cabinet has given the approval to a proposal to declare Kushinagar Airport in Uttar Pradesh as an international airport. So Kushinagar is located approximately 50 kilometers east of Gorakhpur and is one of the most important Buddhist pilgrimage sites. It is believed that Gautam Buddha attained parinirvana after his death at this place. Nirvana after death, and it occurs upon the death of someone who has attained nirvana during his or her lifetime. So this is a very important pilgrimage site, and according to this data of Union government, around 200 to 300 devotees from Thailand, Cambodia, Japan, Myanmar, etc. come to offer prayers at Kushinagar on any given day. Now, what would be the benefit of declaring this airport as an international airport? First of all, it is located in the vicinity of several Buddhist cultural sites such as Sravasti, Kapilvastu, and Lumbini, and declaration of an international airport would offer improved connectivity, wider choice of competitive cost to international air travelers, and it would also result in boosting of domestic and international tourism and economic development of the regions. So the important questions from this news could be, where is Kushinagar airport situated, or which airport in Uttar Pradesh has been recently declared as an international airport. The next news of the day is rupees 1500 crores animal husbandry infrastructure development fund set up. So the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, which is chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, has approved setting up of AHIDF. What is the full form of AHIDF? Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund. The total worth of this fund is rupees 1500 crores, and the eligible beneficiaries under this fund would be farmer producer organizations, MSMEs, which is the micro, small, medium enterprises, Section 8 companies, private companies, and individual entrepreneurs with minimum 10% margin money contribution by them. Now, this fund is a part of the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan stimulus package, which was announced by the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to revive the economic growth. So, this would incentivize investments for dairy and meat processing and add value addition to the infrastructure and establishment of animal feed plant in the private sector. So under this, Government of India would provide 3% interest subvention to the eligible beneficiaries, which we have already read in the last slide. There will be 2 years moratorium period for the principal loan amount and 6 years repayment period thereafter. Government of India would also set up credit guarantee fund of rupees 750 crores, which would be managed by NABARD. Credit guarantee would be provided to those sanctions projects which are covered under the MSME defined ceilings. NABARD stands for National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. It is an apex development financial institution of India. Its headquarters are in Mumbai and the chairman is Govinda Rajulu Chintala. The important questions from this news could be, expand AHIDF. What is the total net worth of the AHIDF? Under which package has AHIDF been announced? What would be the interest subvention that would be provided by the Government of India to the eligible beneficiaries? Or what would be the moratorium period for the principal loan amount? And then last question could be, what is the total amount of the credit guarantee fund, which would be managed by NABARD and set up by Government of India? The next news says Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center, which is IN-SPACE, has been created. So in a first of its kind move, the central government has created Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center, which stands for InSpace, to provide private players to use Indian space infrastructure. InSpace will help private players through encouraging policies through a regulatory environment that is friendly, as well as guiding private players in space activities. However, ISRO will remain the basic body that decides what missions are going to be undertaken, but this new body will help to fill the gaps. So there's also an existing body by the name NSIL, which is the New Space India Limited. It would only supplement this, along with InSpace, would supplement ISRO's work, and they are not going to be the main basic body. NSIL was set up in on 6th March 2019. It is headquartered in Bangalore, and the chief managing director is G Narayanan. And the main objective of setting up NSIL was to space up and scale up industry participations in Indian space programs. ISRO stands for Indian Space Research Organization, and it is the primary basic agency of space agency of Government of India. It is headquartered in Bangalore, and the chairman is K. Sivan. The important questions from this news could be: expand in space. What does I stands for in space, or what does S stands for in space? And then other question could be: expand NSIL. What does NSIL stand for? And the final question could be: where are the headquarters of NSIL or ISRO situated? Also, a couple of more important facts: that the Department of Space is an Indian government department which is responsible for the administration of Indian space program, and it functions directly under the Prime Minister of India, which is Mr. Narendra Modi, and the Deputy Minister or the Minister of State responsible for this department is Dr. Jitendra Singh. The next news of the day is Ministry of HRD releases roadmap for NCERT for the year 2020-21. So Ministry of HRD is the Human Resource Development Ministry, and the Union Minister is Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank, and HRD Ministry has released this new roadmap for NCERT. Now, what is NCERT? NCERT stands for National Council of Educational Research and Training. It is an autonomous organization of Government of India, and the president of NCERT is Mr. Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank, who is also the Union HRD Minister, and the director is Dr. Rushikesh Senapati. This organization, NCERT, is headquartered in New Delhi. So the new National Curriculum Framework, NCF, for school education has been initiated. NCERT will be expected to make changes in textbooks in accordance with the new NCF. Subject experts will initiate this process for school education and give interim report by December 2020. The new NCEF is expected to be ready by March 2021. Under the Atmanirbhar Bharat for PME Vidya, NCERT is also expected to prepare content for class 1 to 12 for Swayam Prabha channels and start the channels by August this year. The important questions from this news could be: expand NCF, or which of the following organization is working on development of NCF? Who is the Union HRD Minister? Where are the headquarters of NCERT situated? Which of the following organizations would start with the Swayam Prabha channels? Now let's have a look at the important states news. So the first important news is that Haryana government has signed an agreement with Reliance Jio TV to educate 52 lakh students. So there's been an agreement with Reliance Jio TV and Haryana government which would benefit around 52 lakh school students in rural area. Under this new agreement, Chief Minister's Distance Education Program will expand education in rural areas without jeopardizing social distancing during this COVID-19 pandemic. Under this agreement, all the 4 channels of EduSet will now be available on Jio platform free of cost. It will help students to watch all 4 channels of EduSet through television, laptop, desktop, tablet, and smartphone. The important questions from this news could be: which government has recently signed an agreement with Reliance Jio TV to educate 52 lakh students? Or with which of the following has Haryana government signed an agreement to educate 52 lakh students? The next news is Jharkhand has launched Mukhyamantri Shramik Yojana. Now, what is this Shramik Yojana? Shramik stands for Shahari Rozgar Manjuri for Kamgar Yojana. So it is a 100-day employment scheme for urban unskilled workers, similar to the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme of the central government. So this scheme would be launched amid this coronavirus pandemic, which has led to a lot of migrant workers returning back to their home states. This scheme will provide provision for unemployment allowance if the local body fails to provide a job within 15 days. The workers will be divided into various categories like cleanliness, water harvesting, tree plantation, public works construction or repair, and managing shelter homes. So these are the kinds of different works that the workers would be offered to do under Mukhyamantri Shramik Yojana. So a notable fact is Jharkhand would be the second state in the country after Kerala to launch an employment guarantee scheme for the urban poor. Kerala runs AUEGS, which stands for Ayankali Urban Employment Guarantee Scheme. The important question from this news could be, which state has launched Mukhyamantri Shramik Yojana? Expand Shramik, or what does S stand for in Shramik Yojana, or H stands for in Shramik Yojana? What is the name of the employment scheme launched by the Jharkhand government? And another question could be, which of the following is the first Indian states to launch an employment guarantee scheme for the urban poor? That would be Kerala, or it could be Expand AUEGS. Also, there could be one question that under the Shramik Yojana of Jharkhand government, how many days of employment would be provided to the urban unskilled workers? The third news is Madhya Kshetra Vidyut Vitran Company has started with Nishtha Vidyut Mitra scheme for women empowerment. So in Madhya Pradesh, the Madhya Kshetra Vidyut Vitran Company has started this scheme for women empowerment, in which women self-help groups at Gram Panchayat level will work as Nishtha Vidyut Mitra. Under this scheme, these mitras would be encouraged to increase the revenue collection of the company by providing extra incentives to them. So mitras, this Nishtha Vidyut Mitras, which would be a part of the women self-help groups, would motivate the consumers to pay bills online or through the UPay app, and the company would be providing Nishtha Vidyut Mitras with special incentives for doing the same. So the important questions for this news could be, which state has started with Nishtha Vidyut Mitra scheme? What is Nishtha Vidyut Mitra scheme related to? And with this, let's move on to the next section. Now we'll be doing the important economy, banking, and business related news. The first news in this section is the Competition Commission of India, which is the CCI, has approved the acquisition of 9.99% stake in Jio Platforms by Jadoo. Now, what is Jadoo? Jadoo is actually an indirect, wholly owned subsidiary of Facebook, and it is a newly incorporated company formed in March 2020 under the laws of state of Delaware, United States. So Facebook had acquired 9.99% stake in Jio Platforms in April 2020, and it was first in a series of 11 deals which were secured by Jio Platform. With this deal, Facebook has become the largest minority shareholder in the Jio Platforms. Some quick facts about CCI. The Competition Commission of India is a statutory body under the Government of India. So this body's main function is to maintain healthy competition in India, and it makes sure that it enforces the Competition Act 2002. It is headquartered in New Delhi, and the chairman is Ashok Gupta. The important questions from this news could be, what is the percentage of stake that Facebook has acquired in Jio Platforms? Which of the following is the largest minority shareholder in the Jio Platform? And where are the headquarters of Competition Commission of India situated? Also, Jadoo is the wholly owned subsidiary of which of the following companies? The next news is world's first gold-backed digital gold currency launched in India. So IBMC Financial Professional Group, which is an internationally recognized financial services institution and business consultants, has joined hands with US Gold Currency Inc. and Blockfills to bring world's first monetary gold-backed digital gold currency to India. This currency is also being simultaneously introduced in the Gulf Cooperation Council, Middle East, and Africa. It was launched from Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Each US gold digital currency is backed by US American Eagle 1 ounce, which is 33.931 gram gold coin minted by US Federal Agency US Mint. The holders of the currency can redeem their digital assets as physical gold coin or in US dollars anywhere in the world. So the important questions from this news could be, which of the following has launched world's first gold-backed digital currency? And where was world's first gold-backed digital currency launched? Also, what is the value of each US gold digital currency? The next news is that the Union MSME Ministry, which is the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise Ministry, has launched Distressed Assets Fund Subordinate Debt for MSMEs. So the Union Minister of MSMEs, Mr. Nitin Gadkari, has launched this credit guarantee scheme for subordinate debt, and the short form is CGSSD, which is also known as Distressed Assets Fund Subordinate Debt for MSMEs. Under this scheme, a guarantee cover worth rupees 20,000 crores would be provided to the promoters who can take debt from the banks to further invest in their stressed MSMEs as equity. Now, the scheme aims to extend support to the promoters of the operational MSMEs which are stressed and have become NPAs. NPA is the non-performing assets as on 30th April 2020. So the promoters of MSME will be given credit equal to 15% of their stake or rupees 75 lakh, whichever is lower. Promoters in turn will infuse this amount in MSME unit as equity and thereby enhance the liquidity and maintain the debt to equity ratio. 90% guarantee coverage for this sub debt will be given under the scheme, and 10% would be coming from the concerned promoters. So there will be a moratorium period of 7 years on payment of principal, whereas the maximum tenor for repayment would be 10 years. So the promoters of MSMEs who would be meeting the eligibility criteria can approach any scheduled commercial banks to avail the benefit under the scheme. This scheme will be operationalized through Credit Guarantee Fund Trust for MSEs. The important questions that could be asked from this news could be, what is the total amount that for which has been set aside for the Distressed Assets Fund Subordinate Debt for MSEs, and what could be the, which ministry would be launching this scheme? Who is the Union MSME Minister, and what is the cutoff date that would be considered for considering a promoter under the Distressed Assets Fund Subordinate Debt for MSMEs? What would be the credit that would be provided to the promoters of the MSMEs? What would be the moratorium period for which the promoter would be provided for returning the principal amount, and what would be the maximum tenor for the repayment? So the next news is NTPC, which is a central PSU under the Ministry of Power, has been awarded a project management consultancy by Republic of Mali. So Republic of Mali is a country in West Africa. It has awarded a consultancy contract to NTPC for the development of a 500 megawatt solar park. And headquarters of NTPC are in New Delhi, and the chairman and MD is Mr. Gurdeep Singh. And this company is primarily engaged in business of generation of electricity and allied activities. Its core business is generation and sale of electricity to state-owned power distribution companies and state electricity boards in India. The important questions could be from this news could be, which of the following PSU has been awarded a project management consultancy contract by Republic of Mali? The next news is Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, which is referred to as MSDE over here, and IBM under their partnership has unveiled a free digital learning platform by the name Skills Build Reignite. So in order to address the current skill gap in the country, IBM and its partners have launched Skills Build Reignite and the Skills Build Innovation Camp. It tends to provide job seekers and entrepreneurs with access to free online coursework and mentoring support designed to help them reinvent their careers and business. So it was in November 2019 that IBM had partnered with Directorate General of Training, which is under the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Government of India. And under this, the Skills Build online learning platform was made available to Indian students through Bharat Skills. The MSD Minister is Dr. Mahendra Nath. The important questions from this news could be, which of the following has launched the free digital learning platform by the name Skills Build Reignite? Or IBM has partnered with which of the following ministries to launch Skills Build reignite. Now we have come to the last section of the day. That's the important days and events. So on 26th June, United Nations International Day in support of victims of torture is observed. So this day was declared as a United Nations Day by the UNGA on 12 December 1997. This day aims to view total eradication of torture and the effective functioning of Convention against Torture and other cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment. There is a UN voluntary fund for the victims of torture, which is administered by the UN Human Rights Office in Geneva, and it is a unique victim-focused mechanism that channels funding for the assistance to victims of torture and their families. The important questions from this news could be: when is the United Nations International Day in support of victims of torture observed? This day declared as a United Nations International Day. The last day that we would be covering today is the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. So by the resolution in December 1987, the UNGA decided to observe 26 June as the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. It was an expression of its determination to strengthen action and cooperation to achieve the goal of an international society free of drug abuse. The Commission on Narcotics, Drugs, C&D was established by the Economic and Social Council by Resolution 9-1 in 1946 to assist ECO SOC in supervising the application of internal drug control treaties. The theme for 2020 is better knowledge for better care. The important questions that can be asked from this news is: what is the theme of 2020 for the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking? When is the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking observed? And with this, we've come to the end of today's current affairs. I hope, guys, you're able to understand the current affairs. Please do not forget to give your valuable feedback in the comment section. And if you like the current affairs, please do not forget to press the thumbs up. And thank you for listening and take care.